Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. It's only about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I want to do a quick video on the Stones. They did the opening night last night at NRG Stadium in Houston. Gary Clark Jr. opened up. And last night, live, I started watching, postings of it. And luckily enough, there was a gentleman right in the pit, right up against the stage, and he was filming like the whole concert live on his cell phone. I wound up watching about half of the show. I was only going to watch one song, and it was so fascinating, and I was enjoying it so much I just kept watching it, and wound up watching about half of the show. And I've seen other footage now since from other areas of the stage. So here's my initial opinion on opening night, the set list, the staging, the songs, and the performance. Now, of course, I'm only judging it from a cell phone, which is ridiculous. Obviously, it's nothing like being there, and I didn't get the full experience or the full sound. But I can still give a little bit of a judgment on what they did. So let's talk about the Stones opening night last night in Houston. I had done a video where I was concerned about the staging because it looked really kind of bare bones. I'd seen the setup, it's been set up for almost a week. Here's somebody took this picture last night of what it kind of looks like. It's pretty bare bones, but you're never going to have like Steel Wheels or Voodoo Lounge or Bridges to Babylon. They just don't have the money because it's not full-length tours. They're only playing a few shows. And that's just been their modus operandi now. But with that said, turns out to be a much improvement, I think, over the last couple of staging where they had like the 4 big panels that was separate. I like the one big stage. The whole thing is a screen. And I was concerned if you're in the upper decks where I'm going to be on the side was it blocked because of these speakers. It didn't look that way on what the videos I was watching. The whole thing is a screen. And the reality is that's what you kind of need in a stadium because you're watching the screen. You are, no matter where you are, even if you're relatively close, you are watching the screen. You can't see this picture, but it opened up. It looked like the Hackney Diamonds. Diamonds was flashing, and then the opening thing, it opened up, it exploded, and the band came out. But like I said, the whole thing is a screen. It looked crystal clear, and that's what you're watching. The band is down here. Unless you're really, really close, you're not watching that anyway. So the staging worked out really well, from what I can tell. Let's talk about the set list, shall we? Let's pull that up there. We can see that. Can you see that? Let's see. There you go. So they opened up with Start Me Up. They're always going to open up typically, with one of their big anthems. Worked really well. They go into Get Off of My Cloud, which is one of my favorite all-time Stones tracks. And always kind of wondered why they didn't always play it. I mean, it's a #1 hit. It's a classic. But unless you're a Stones fan, it's kind of a forgotten track. I mean, I saw it in '75. I saw it on a No Security tour, and I was like, this is great. So that was in the second position, and I thought it was great. Great selection here. The third track was Rocks Off. Thrilling for me to hear that. Really good performance, too. We're going to talk about the band in general. But really good performance. They got the bridge down. It sounded great. Now, you may not believe this, but it is truth. For decades, I've been saying when people have asked me, what's the #1 Stone song you would like to hear them play live that they've never played live? My #1 choice for decades has been Out of Time. So when they finally pulled it out on the last shows, I was absolutely thrilled. I haven't seen it. So I'm really looking forward to it. They pulled it out last night. I hope they play it at every show. Jagger leads the audience into a sing-along at the end, and it was just great. Just great. Angry came next. From where the guy was filming in where he was, as soon as they did the opening riffs, the crowd kind of erupted, which was kind of nice. I'm so used to these casual fans who, when it's the deep tracks or something new, they go get a beer or go to the bathroom. The song was killer. It's a great live track. They had the fan vote. They did Beast of Burden, really good version of it. Mess It Up came next. I like the song. It's catchy. At the same time, I've said it. It's my least favorite song from the album. Kind of surprising that they did that, although it is catchy, so it's a good live track. but that's the one that they did. It was fine. Tumbling Dice came next. Good groove. We're going to talk about the band in general. Cano's go. Tumbling Dice. That was the last thing that I saw on the live stream. After that, I've seen some of this on other footage. Candles will get what you want. Let me know. I have not seen the footage of it. I'm assuming it was a good sing-along, but I haven't heard it. Keith, they do the introductions. Keith comes out. He does Little T and A. Now, this is the first time in a really, really long time that Keith did one song live. Usually it's two back-to-back. My gut is that he will be doing two. I think it might have something to do with like a cutoff time with the stadium. I'm not 100% sure, but that would be a shame if that's what the reasoning. So they could have played earlier. I don't know. But with that said, Little TNA is a great return to form. Personally, I would love to see Little TNA. It's a great track from Tattoo. Keith doesn't always do it, and it was a really good version. I think he'll probably do one of his other songs from Hackney. The song from Hackney Diamonds would be my guess for the second track. Then they did Sympathy for the Devil. Different kind of an intro. They always, we'll talk about the Stones and how they play live, which is great. But they always, in Sympathy for the Devil, they've always had that backing track percussion. It sounded very different last night. So maybe it wasn't even a backing track. I don't know. But good version. Gimme Shelter, I saw bits and pieces of. Chanel Haynes is the new singer. She does it in her own style. Obviously, she's an amazing singer. She did the Tina Turner show. In fact, she got fired from the Tina Turner show because of playing with the Stones at that time. I guess it paid off. Good move, Chanel. She does her own version. Honestly, nothing comes close to Lisa Fisher's different versions, especially one in particular, which you go, she just took it to a level that is beyond belief. But Chanel Haynes does it in her own style. Honky Tonk Women, now you go into the War Horses. Honky Tonk Women, Miss You, Paint It Black, Jumpin' Jack Flash, and then you come back for the encores. I watched the performance of Sweet Sounds in Heaven. It is phenomenal. They do the false ending, of course. I saw Mick getting down on his knees. It is extraordinary. I'm praying, my prediction, the Stones need to be nominated for the Grammys for Sweet Sounds of Heaven, and they need to perform it live. Maybe we've got Lady Gaga and take home the Grammy. It's an incredible performance, and what I saw looked amazing. And then they ended with Satisfaction. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18 songs, like close to 2 hours. We're not in Bruce Springsteen territory of 3.5 hours, but that's okay. It was a little bit of a shorter show. I think they ran out of time with the cutoff. But, for the stadium, they're going to be playing, the War Horses. They have to. They have to play some of the biggest songs. With that said, I think the opening was really good. Get Off My Cloud, Rocks Off, Out of Time, Angry, Mess It Up, Little TNA. Great to have those in there. Sweet Sounds of Heaven. I predict that the Stones are going to play 3 songs or 4 from Hackney Diamonds, and they played 3. So not bad. I think there'll be a 4th. I think Keith will do the song that he does from that album. That's my prediction. But it's a good mixture of classics, some deeper tracks, Rocks Off, Out of Time, Get Off My Cloud, #1 song, but they don't play it all that often, really. So, a really good set list for sure for a stadium show. What about the band? They had a different kind of a groove, I got to say. I don't know. It's because of the rhythm section, what they would call the engine room. Maybe, Keith to me sounds like instead of leading the band like he used to lead the band, he's taken more of a casual role. He's kind of cash, playing the riffs. He sounded really good. I'm not saying he didn't sound good, but I think the engine room has changed the sound of the Stones to a certain extent, and it's not bad. They roll. At least last night, they were rolling. Instead of the Rolling Stones being a hard rock band, they were rolling. They had a great groove. It was kind of a slinky, sexy kind of a feel, and seemed to me, the stuff that I've seen, seemed to maintain that. Maybe Angry was that really rocks out, but a lot of it had like this slinky kind of a groove. Even Sympathy for the Devil, Gimme Shelter, they kind of ran a little bit slow, or was it just a different kind of a groove? We'll have to see how the tour progresses, but it was a good sound. The Stones are rock and roll, and they were rolling, and it worked for sure. Mick is a miracle. Can't believe the guy's going to be 81 years old. His voice sounded great. And, like I said, Keith does his rhythm, and he does some, you know, adding his magic dust on the leads. And Ronnie took care of a lot of the leads from what I can tell as well. With their weaving. You're not going to be hearing amazing guitar solos. Certainly what I heard in Sympathy for the Devil, as far as being a guitar solo, not overly impressive from a technical standpoint, but what the hell? Whoo-hoo, whoo-hoo. It still was a lot of fun. I imagine being there must have been great because it was fun for me just watching the damn thing on a handheld cell phone. So they sounded great. My hat's off to the Rolling Stones, not only because of their age, they still deliver, but I got to tell you something. They're clearly playing live, and they always do. I'm not saying sometimes they might have a little bit of a backing tape. Sympathy for the Devil was always a good example, but then the backing tape would fade away and the band would kick right in. Jagger's clearly singing live. Ronnie and Keith are playing live. You could tell because it's just not great guitar work, but it's fine for what it is. And there's something to be said for that. There's a lot of videos out there how everybody is playing the backing tracks and they're getting busted. I mean, I saw footage the other day of Joan Jett. I never would have expected that, Literally everybody is playing the backing tracks, and it's a fucking joke. So my hat's off to the Rolling Stones for being a real deal. One last thought. I've watched videos, and they do these videos on the greatest performances of the Super Bowl of all time. And the Stones are never, ever listed. And I watched a documentary on the Super Bowl halftime show. And do you know that the Rolling Stones are the only band only performer that ever played the Super Bowl halftime show live? Ever. And who else has played there? U2, Springsteen, all of them played the backing tapes. The Stones refused, and they played live on the Super Bowl. And that's something to be said, which is why the Stones' performance at the Super Bowl, I thought it was good, but it's not like the all-time great, because that's what a real band is supposed to sound like. And at least the Stones still carrying that flag. We are the real deal. And they sure are. It's a goddamn miracle. Mick Jagger, I don't know how the hell he does it. Keith definitely looking his age. And even Woody running around kind of looking his age. But Jagger, unbelievable. So there you have it. My review of the Stones in Houston last night, opening night. If you were there, put in your opinions. We want to know from somebody who was really there, not somebody like me who was watching on a cell phone and video clips. But I would love to know. But overall, a real pleasant surprise. I'm looking forward to it now. I've been keeping a low profile, but now getting pumped up to see the show at MetLife in Jersey. So, as always, thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe. I got a whole Rolling Stones playlist, tons of Stones videos. And most importantly, stay safe, stay healthy. I got to get some rest, man. I'm exhausted. Have a good night. Have a good day. What time is it? 7:30 in the morning. I'll see you around.